Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Just Journey podcast. I'm grateful for your time and your support. During this season, we're definitely going to dive into the mind of Just Journey. What am I thinking? What are the thoughts? What are the topics? I know a lot of you are really wanting to know. And for those of you that are new here, welcome. Now, for ad space, promos, and collaborations, please email justjourneymanagement@gmail.com. This podcast is available on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and YouTube. Let's get into it. Oftentimes, people use words without knowing the definition, and I can say I'm guilty of it, But when you honestly take the time to review words throughout these different dictionaries, you then may get a different perspective. In today's episode, we're going to talk about heroes. Oxford Languages defines a hero as a person who is admired or idolized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Whereas Merriam-Webster defines a hero as a mythological or legendary figure, often of divine descent, endowed with great strength or ability. An illustrious warrior, a person admired for achievement and noble qualities, one who shows great courage. Let that simmer for a few seconds. As we get into this podcast, I want you to think about a few things. 1, are you your own hero? 2, have you actually sought out knowledge? And 3, do you believe people trick themselves to believe what they are taught? When asked Journey, who is your hero? I've always struggled to come up with an answer, and I've almost felt as though if I'm being asked such a question that someone is definitely looking for an answer, right? Maybe of a person, somebody I admired, right? Growing up with a lot of the cartoons and TV shows and maybe even things that we hear in the news, I've only understood a hero as someone saving someone in a critical or stressful situation, no matter how light it may have appeared to be. However, after viewing the various definitions of a hero, I find myself even more confused. Let's jump back to those definitions for a second, right? If we are all speaking the English language, and there are 2 separate dictionaries where one doesn't indicate anything about mythology, and they're very specific on it being a person, then I'm automatically thinking that a hero doesn't even have to be a person. A hero could be a thought. But isn't mythology a derivative of the word myth, which means that it's false and it doesn't actually exist? I am still struggling to find a way to place people in the box of one word and the figments of my own imagination. Maybe a pet could be a hero. The hero of the day. The hero saved the baby from being attacked by a group of cats or a wild coyote, right? I'm sure we've all heard of those stories. I never felt like I was rescued by someone or saved in such a way that I would look at a person as being my hero. Although some people actually thrive off of being someone's hero. And in my religious beliefs or spiritual concepts, there's no mythology I could put my creator into. I had a conversation with a few people, and, a lot of their first answers was God before we started getting into the definition. But let's talk about that for a bit. If the first thought that comes to your mind is God being a hero, then based off of this definition, or both of these definitions, what courage does God need to have when he is a creator of all? Granted that those are your beliefs, right? What would be considered an outstanding achievement for him? For us to say, oh God, you achieved this, you're a hero, right? We definitely can't look at him as being a mythological or legendary figure of divine descent, right? Because if he started everything, then where does he descend from? Now, we can say that he has great strength or ability, but that first definition in Merriam-Webster is like a single sentence. A mythological or legendary figure, often of divine descent, endowed with great strength or ability. I don't think God fits that description. An illustrious warrior, a person admired for achievement and noble qualities. But then what is noble? What is noble? Because there's a lot of things that people have to do in order to survive that may not be a status quo for people of different lifestyles, but it doesn't make them any less noble. And I'll leave you guys to kind of get into that definition on your own. All right? So many words in our dictionaries today, and I do say dictionaries plural, but there's no rationale behind them outside of their derivatives, meaning that, at least within this English language, words are either root Greek or root Latin in structure. Okay? So do you remember those little questions I asked you at the beginning of this podcast? Like, are you your own hero? And have you sought knowledge? And do you believe that people trick themselves into believing what they're taught? I wonder if there'll ever be a day that we can come up with our own definitions for things. But is it coming up with your own definition of something, a perspective? However, in some situations, majority rules, right? I'm not sure how you feel about heroes. I'm not sure if you're your own hero or if you've sought out any knowledge that would be beneficial to you. But I'd like to hear what you have to say in the comments. Thanks for tuning in to something really short and sweet. I definitely had to get it off my chest. And I'll catch you guys next time.